Guys, I thought that we'd do a few examples of how to approach 2-minute poses. So I'm going to set my timer now. Okay, an easy way to approach standing poses is to draw a line depicting the angle of the shoulders and a line showing the angle of the hips. We can connect these by the breastbone. What this does is it creates a pinch in the waist and a lean on the other side of the figure. With gesture, we're really just getting kind of the basic form of the figure. We're simplifying a lot of the forms. And we're just trying to get our general impression of the model, kind of before our mind has time to interfere. So we're trying to abstract the human form by working really quickly and just looking at general shapes. So I'm just going to approach the chin. So I'm 1 minute down now, and I have all the main forms of the figure. Now from here, I can start to add in more details. I would recommend not erasing anything for 2-minute poses just because there isn't enough time, and 2-minute poses are really, they're for you. They're a way for you to record what you're seeing about the figure and to warm up your hand and your vision. It doesn't really matter how perfect your quick poses look. They're warm-ups, and they're designed to help you, visualize the figure during longer poses and throughout the process. So don't think that you need to create kind of a perfectly proportioned figure within 2 minutes. Just set your goal as somehow representing the entire figure within 2 minutes. Okay, so time's up on that one. Okay, so let's do another 2-minute pose. So in addition to contrapposto, which is the counterbalance of the shoulders and hips in a standing pose, we're also looking for shapes that look like C's or S's. And we're trying to look at the longest continual axes, so the longest forms that are moving in a wave type shape or in the same direction. So we're just kind of, again, it's a process of generalization to a great degree. And that's part of the challenge. It's worth kind of spending some time just thinking about how you're going to generalize the figure. In general, you don't need to worry too much about the volume of the form you're drawing. So just getting down kind of the outer lines is absolutely fine. You can totally create a stick figure for a gesture pose. But again, we're just trying to get the basic expression of the form down through simplifying the main curves of the figure. And then if we have a little bit more time, moving in with additional details. I'm just doing a line showing the angle of the eyes, bottom of the nose, bottom of the lips. And I'm not too worried about erasing anything. Okay, so that's 2 minutes. Okay, so let's do another 2-minute pose. So the human figure is usually counterbalanced in a pose, and what gesture drawing does, to a certain degree, is illustrates that counterbalance. And by doing so, we can create something that feels human, even with a bare minimum of details. Our decision to use flowing lines or zigzags will influence the sense of emotion of the figure. So the more you kind of experiment with, increasing the angles on a figure, increasing the curves, the more you'll get a sense of how to depict personality through the stance that the figure is taking. So I'm building up the figure from a basic form. I've started with, the longest continual curves of the figure before adding on more details. I'm not too worried about kind of hands, feet, anything like that, muscles. These I can add in if I have more time, and I've got 25 seconds left, so I'll just put in a little bit of information around the shoulders, maybe a bit, some abs down. Maybe the angle of the eyes, bottom of nose, bottom of lips. All right, and there's 2 minutes. Now you can also do gesture drawing just for looking for shapes that look like C's, essentially. So let's do a woman tilted forward. So I'm going to just follow the continuous form going down her back towards one leg tilted forwards. Then I'm going to put down the second leg, so we're following the longest continual axes within the figure. I'm going to just roll this shoulder around. Not going to depict too much for hands. And then I can get the outer corner of the face and the chin. So now with 1 minute down, I've got the main form of the figure, and you already have a sense of how she's moving. So now with a little bit more time that I have, I can put in further details. So I can flesh out the figure a little bit more. But I'm not trying to do kind of a perfect depiction of the subject I'm looking at. I'm trying to describe its motion in a simplified form. So when I'm doing contours or fleshing out the figure, I'm following the tilts and turns of its opposing side so that everything's moving in one fluid motion. Okay, and I can do angle of eyes, bottom of nose, lips, and then just let's carve out. Oops, so just a bit of time left. We can also do 2-minute poses by looking at volume. So for this figure, I'm going to start looking at the angle of her chest, her rib cage essentially, and then the counter angle that her pelvis is going to be going in. And from here, I can build and organize my figure. So this is a good technique for figures who are kind of tilting in 2 different directions. Just starting with the torso. I'm going to build a leg on here, so mindful of time. And let's get, the belly's going to stretch over there. Get the breasts. We'll get one arm, which is going to be curled around the figure. So I'm 1 minute down. Now let's get the second leg. And my model's tilting her head up. So I'm just going to put down a little bit of information about the chin and the outer corner of her face. And she also has an arm that's coming up and curled around the back of her head. Okay, so I've got 18 more seconds. I can show the angle of her eyes, bottom and nose. And even put some shading on the side of the figure, moving away from the light. Right, so that's it. So just a quick review over what we went over today. Contrapposto refers to the counterbalance of the shoulders and the hips. And this is an easy way to draw standing figures because we basically can just organize our figure around this counterbalance. With gesture, we're also looking for shapes that look like C's and S's. C's, S's, and zigzags. So like a crouched figure might look like this. We're just working really quickly. So you want shapes that move like this, and you're looking for the longest continual forms within a figure. To create gesture on both sides, mirror your curves rather than creating shapes that look like this, where both sides oppose one another. And your decision to use waves or zigzags is going to influence the sense of motion, tension, and emotion within your drawing. So I hope this was helpful. Leave any questions in the comments. And as always, tag us. We're at Soho_life_drawing. Thank you.